Welcome to the first What's New in Microsoft Teams, looking back at July and forward into August and beyond. I'm Mark Thompson, and I normally present What's New in Microsoft 365 and Teams. That's a weekly blog looking across the whole of 365 as well as Teams. And what I'm going to do is once a month pick out the best content from that weekly blog and present it here in this monthly blog looking just at Microsoft Teams. We're going to be having some revised timelines. So those are features that you'd probably expect to have by now, but are running a little bit late. Then we'll have our main updates. You can see those down the center. And then we're going to have bite-sized updates. These are updates which have recently happened or are about to happen, but actually you only need a few lines to explain what those are about. Ones to watch are looking a little bit further ahead. They often go beyond the month that we're looking at, but it's useful for you to know what's coming down the line, and you'll almost certainly be hearing more about those nearer their release. If you're watching this on YouTube, please give me the thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. It makes a big difference to getting the message out there, and you'll never miss an episode. So, on to our first revised timelines. So this is Meeting Join Custom Branding. This is just the ability for you to brand the meeting experience when people are joining your meetings. It's running a little bit late, should be due late August to early September. It's currently free, but as of the end of the year, you'll need the advanced communications license to use this. The next one is end-to-end encryption for Teams calling. This looks really interesting, and I'm sure that some clients will find a good use for this. So it's running a little bit late, so due the end of August into mid-September. But you can see that if you click on your settings and then you go into privacy, then you've got the option to turn that on there if that's been activated by your organization. Music mode for Microsoft Teams. This is late also. So looking at late August to late September. Again, you go into settings, this time go into your devices, and you've got the options in here to turn this on. As well as being great for people having music lessons at home. Now I know that Zoom has got a feature that lets unprocessed sound go through. You might also find this useful when you're, say, recording a session and you're gonna use it for training. You might want better quality sound for that. I don't know that's how it's going to work out. I haven't got this yet, but I'm looking forward to trying that out. Okay, on to our first update. So new default setting options when opening Office files in Teams. So into your settings, into general, and then here you can tell Microsoft Teams how you would like to open your documents. So do you want to view them in Teams? Do you want a desktop app to open them, or do you want them opened in the browser? Now I already have this. This is a screenshot from one of the tenants I'm in. Another tenant doesn't have it yet, so this is probably due out any time now. You can at any time override your setting, so you can see here that we've clicked on the ellipsis for a document. We're actually going to say we want to open in. We can then choose one of these other options here, but we can also change our default if we want to. Rolling out mid-August to late September for most of us, but like I say, I already see that in one of my tenants. Fluid live components in Teams chat. Rubbish name, but I've left that name in so that you can, so when you see this discussed by Microsoft in blogs, you know what we're talking about. Now, I quite often for training materials, I humanize the language a little bit, but I've deliberately left this it's feeling a little bit clunky so that you know what feature we're talking about. Now, this is just the ability to send a chat message containing live fluid components. So if we just zoom into this a little bit, you can see that whoever is doing this, they've set up a chat. They've clicked on this new icon down here, so I'm just circling it, and they've added a these bullet points, and you can see we've got multiple people working on this at the same time. You can also have a table in there, and there's 2 or 3 different things you can add. I guess that will get expanded. It just means that it can be edited in real time by everybody who's in that chat with you. So you click on Insert Live Components. I believe it is this icon here. Permissions can be changed, so you can take away the ability for that to be edited, and you can see here that it can be copied if you need to copy it into another chat. Further down the line, you're going to be able to push that into Outlook as well. And look out for that mid to late August for most of us. That looks really nice. I think that's a really genuine bonus to your day-to-day productivity. Music mode for Teams. I kind of talked about this when I was talking about what's late, so we're going to just flick through this quickly. A couple of things to add to what I said earlier. You need to use professional quality microphones, but not Bluetooth, because they can't take the bandwidth apparently. You can turn off the echo cancellation if you want to, if you're using headphones. You would set this up prior to the meeting though, so you can toggle this on and off during the meeting, but you need to set it up before before you start that meeting. Okay, due late July to late September, so quite a big window for that one, but that looks quite interesting for a niche market. Real-time telemetry for Teams and users. Now, it sounds great being able to troubleshoot your connection issues, but when you click on the ellipsis and you say you want to look at your call health, you get this, which I don't know about you folks, doesn't mean a lot to me. Maybe if I'm getting a call back from the help desk and they told me to do that, then being aware of it means that I know what to click. But maybe if you're having trouble with a little bit of help from YouTube or a blog, then this information on the right hand side will help. So it's rolled out already for most, but will be available for everybody by late August. Okay, so really this is a stream update, but it affects something to do with Teams, so I've included it. So it's the ability to view the transcript for Microsoft Teams meeting recording. You know that when Microsoft Teams meetings were recorded to stream, then you got the transcript on the right hand side, but when we started getting them recorded to your OneDrive for regular normal meetings, so the OneDrive of the first person who started the meeting, or to the files area if it is a channel meeting, we're getting this functionality back. So it just means that you can view the transcript on the right hand side. It appears right next to the video. You can see the video is right next to the transcript here. It is for OneDrive and SharePoint recordings, and where somebody turned on the live transcript. Now later I'm going to tell you about that becoming the default, but it's not at the moment. Somebody needs to remember to do that. It's due late August to late September for most of us. And let me just go back and comment on this. Often you'll see I use the phrase for most users. Now, some organizations and some people get some features early. Most people don't, so there's those people who get the stuff early, which is great for them for testing it, know what's coming, and see if it causes any issues in their organization. They can get their training materials done. But most people don't have that. So when I say for most users, that normally will indicate to you that actually there's a couple of paths. Some people are getting it early, but most of us will get it around this sort of timeline. Okay, new default native notification settings for new Teams users. When you get a notification in Teams, or an activity in Teams for you to be notified about, it pops up inside that Teams window. You have the choice to say that you want the notification style to use your Windows or your Mac if you're using a Mac. Now, what is changing is that the default for anybody new in your organization who's joining Teams, their default will automatically be the operating system. So it'll push it into Windows or it'll push it to the Mac notification system. Now, if you are already using Teams, you're not affected. You can still go and change it if you want to, but just be aware that new users will get that other style. So you might want to consider making sure that your team are aware of that if you have anything to do with training or documentation, or you're onboarding new people. Due late August to early September for most of us. Okay, great. So variable playback speed for Teams meeting recordings. So this just means that you can change the speed of your recordings when you're watching it back. So this is for OneDrive and SharePoint recorded meetings. So I explained that earlier. Now, what's great is that you can accidentally on purpose miss that really boring 1 hour meeting and you can watch it back in half an hour. That is due late September for most of us. Okay, so we've got this new side-by-side and reporter presenter modes with desktop and window sharing. So think about Teams at the moment. So you get the desktop, you're presenting your desktop or you're presenting something else like a slide deck. If you want to, you can have yourself, your camera feed with your background removed, superimposed over that content. But what if you have a lot of content, maybe you have some key facts in the bottom right hand corner, and actually you got your video feed over that? You're going to have this option. So I already have it on in one of my setups. What it means is you get these two new options side by side. So you have your content here, and you've got your video feed with this new background behind you, and you can have reporter mode if you want to. So you get a little bit more real estate for your presentation. Now be careful about the content and the font on it. If it's too small, it's going to look even smaller for your people, and you're going to get superimposed down the right hand side. Now, I am super comfortable when I'm doing meetings at work and being on video, but I think it's going to be a really good presenter who can look into the camera and present their content and make that a really good experience. I'm going to try it with some colleagues soon, but I think it looks great, but I think it'll be a good presenter who makes the best of that. It's already available for some people, but should be available to everyone by mid-September for Teams desktop on both Windows and Mac. Okay, folks, so that was fairly quick. Onto our bite-sized updates now. So, speed data on mobile, that has actually already appeared. Support for PSTN users. So this is just people who use a regular phone or a mobile phone to connect to your meetings. Now, the meeting or the organizer has now got the right and permissions to permanently mute their microphone. So if you're having some kind of problem with those people who've connected that way, then make sure that you know that you can mute those now. Now, part of that feature is that they can also now raise their hand. So if you've permanently muted them, they can't come off mute and they've got something worth hearing. What they can do, they can press *5 on their keypad and they can raise their hand, and hopefully you'll take them off mute. Registration is now also available for view-only attendees when you've got a meeting. So you get a meeting, you can either invite people individually, or you can say you require registration. Then you can share share a link to your meeting, and then they can register themselves. Well, view-only attendees can also register. Pinning a chat. So, folks, you will be aware that in a Teams channel, if somebody says somewhere or there's a thread that's really useful, you can pin that so that it's permanently kept on the right hand side when you look at the more information for that channel. You can have 12 of those. It's just a great way of making sure the key stuff, maybe for the channel you've got how to use this channel and the key contacts for it and how to use it. So that works really well. But you haven't been able to do the same for a chat. So maybe you've got someone in HR, someone over in finance, someone in recruitment, and you've got an ongoing chat that you go, because it's not worth having a whole team for it. So you got a chat, you got all your assets across the top, and you're all in there. You call this, HR, collab with recruitment, and Bob shares a link with the most usable set of links that relate to the chat. You can now pin that message. And only one initially, so you need to choose carefully which one it's going to be. But that's due late August to late September. And when I was telling one of Inform's clients about that, that seems to be quite popular. So I think that's going to be quite useful. Okay, starting a recording will also start a live transcription. So I was telling you earlier that the live transcript can be viewed on the right hand side, but somebody has to remember to click the live transcript. Now that's going to become automatic, so if you start a recording, it's also going to do a transcript. Just while I'm on that, remember that coming soon is the ability for when you do a search across anywhere in 365, it's also going to search the transcripts for the meetings that you're in, and it's going to search what people said in your meetings and show you those videos as suggested results for your part of your search. And for that to work, of course, someone needs to have clicked live transcript, but that's going to be automatic soon. And of course, folks, don't get hung up on what I just said. You have to have permission to the meeting. You have to have been there. It needs to be shared with you. So only if you got permissions to do that will that show up in your search. But that's just another nice feature that's coming soon as well. Ability to swap content and galleries coming back. So when people were showing content, you couldn't switch back to the video, and I don't know why you would want to look at someone's face when they're presenting the content. Maybe the content is very much secondary to what the person's saying. I don't know, but that ability is coming back. Top hits in search auto suggest. So pitch yourself, folks. You've got teams and you've got the search or the command bar at the top, and you put a search into there, and you get search results. You see, you get those results popping down as you're typing, and they come from files, from chats, and people. Now you're going to get the top hits, which from across all the locations where you get the results, the most likely hits at the top, under top hits. So that's just going to make search a little bit better, and that of course is coming in August as well. Okay, so ones to watch. So folks, this is where I need you to cut me a little bit more slack than usual. This is where I don't have a lot of detail, and maybe have like a title and paragraph. And if you go to the blog, if one of these catches your eye, go to the blog and you'll see you'll see a lot more detail about this. Now, there's not a lot of detail, and the timelines especially, they can slip as well. But this is just giving you an idea of what's coming down the line. Content from camera. So it looks like that if you're if you're presenting or you're in a meeting, you can use your webcam maybe to take a still or take a picture from something you hold up to it, and then you can send that through as an image. Honestly, I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I'll send you more details. Now, those of you who have used live events, you know that there's a Q&A feature in live events, and as a moderator they decide which questions get through, then everyone sees it. Now that functionality is coming to regular Teams meetings and webinars, and I think that is brilliant. That's been wanted for so long, folks. Look out for that in September. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed back a little bit further, but that, you can probably see I've given it a star of the month, which I just made up yesterday. But I think that's going to be great, folks. Really looking forward to that as a regular Teams user. You know, you can have background effects in Teams. If you have the app version, well, that functionality is coming to the web, and you might think, oh well, who's using the web version of Teams when you've got the app? I actually work with some people who aren't allowed at the moment to have, for whatever reason, I'm not going to go into it, but they're using the web version of Teams, and slowly Microsoft are bringing parity towards the two different types. Okay, so sharing the system audio, again, this is another feature that's coming to people who are using the web version of Teams, just the ability to share their system audio when they're sharing their screens. Walkie-talkie on mobile phones. I heard this talked about an age ago. It just means that you've got a push to talk on Microsoft Teams on the app on your phone. When I get more details on that, I'll share with you. But depending on kind of where you work, I think that looks really good for some cases. Teams meetings recordings, auto expiration on OneDrive and SharePoint. So you know that a lot of us know when we record a Teams meeting, it pushes to the OneDrive of the person who started the recording, or the SharePoint area that has the files for a channel, if it's a channel meeting. And if you're not doing that, you will be soon, because it's going to be mandated. So Microsoft have figured out that most recordings aren't viewed after 60 days. Now we're going to have this new feature coming where it's going to auto-delete recordings that are 60 days old or older. Well, it's going to be 60 days. You can opt out of it. You can change how long that period is, and if you own a video that's due to be deleted, you'll be notified and you can just keep it. I think that is brilliant, guys. I think keeping information on purpose is the way you should do things. So rather than just, especially remember the feature that I've talked about on what's new in Microsoft 365 and Teams, the other blog. I've talked about the fact that you're going to get the ability to, or you have the ability to auto-record a meeting, so where you can go into the meeting options, auto-record, and even if it's a series, you can set it to auto-record an entire series of meetings. Now imagine the amount of space it's going to build up, and the amount of information and data, and think about GDPR or data rules in wherever you are, and that's going to be a whole load of stuff building up. So this is a really nice feature that means you will keep stuff on purpose. So running out late September to mid-November, so quite a big period of time. So I guess that's just where organisations can opt in or opt out. Now, replying to a comment, let me just find a tweet that I saw earlier today. Okay, so we've got this tweet here. So I cannot believe it. After years waiting for a quote reply in Microsoft Teams, it's finally available on the Windows 11. So you got Windows 11. You know, you got some kind of baked-in version of Teams that's going to come into Windows 11. I don't know the ins and outs of that, folks. And also, there's a new kind of version of Teams, like Teams 2.0, that's built in a different way. That's coming. So it looks like the ability to do that is coming soon. So super excited, and we'll see. We'll see how that looks, and of course I'll give you more information nearer the time. Okay, so that wraps up our first session of what's new in Microsoft Teams. So just a reminder, this is a monthly roundup of what's happened over the past month. I'm looking forward to the next month. If you are already subscribed and watching what's new in Microsoft 365 and Teams, you don't need to watch both unless you want to. If you just want just a recap once a month, because it's the similar content across the two of them. The weekly one has got a mix, and the monthly one is just Microsoft Teams. But folks, make sure if you like this, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and get your notifications. Hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. There's a podcast as well. Look for the blog and sign up for the newsletter if you want to. Do a search for Super Simple 365 wherever you like to get your content, and you'll see me there. Okay, folks, that is it for what happened in July. Looking forward to August. I will see you next month.